Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where history's greatest survival stories meet the raw reality of human endurance. Today we descend into the shadows of World War II, where survival meant mastering the art of deception. Picture this: a secret rendezvous in the dead of night, information exchanged in hushed whispers, each word carrying the weight of thousands of lives. These were the double agents of WWII, master manipulators who danced between allegiance to deceive the enemy from within. This is the world where one misstep meant certain death, and the greatest weapon wasn't a gun, it was the perfectly crafted lie.
The scale of espionage during World War II was unprecedented. While millions fought in trenches and skies, another war raged in the shadows, fought with cipher machines, invisible ink, and calculated betrayals. The British intelligence service developed the double-cross system, capturing nearly every German spy who landed on British soil and presenting them with a stark choice: become a double agent or face execution. Most chose survival. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Entire invasion plans and the outcome of the war itself hung in the balance. The 20 Committee orchestrated a symphony of lies so convincing that German intelligence never suspected they'd lost complete control of their spy network in Britain. These seemingly ordinary individuals, criminals, socialites, chicken farmers, became masters of strategic deceit, their survival depending on their ability to convincingly play both sides while secretly serving only one. Eddie Chapman embodied the paradox of wartime espionage. A professional safecracker imprisoned on Jersey when the Germans occupied the Channel Islands, Chapman made an audacious proposal: let him spy for Germany. The Abwehr trained him in sabotage and explosives before parachuting him back into England with orders to destroy the de Havilland aircraft factory. But Chapman never intended to serve the Reich. Upon landing, he immediately surrendered to British authorities, receiving the code name Zigzag. The British staged an elaborate fake sabotage of the aircraft factory, complete with painted camouflage to make it appear destroyed from aerial photographs. The Germans, viewing the so-called damage from above, celebrated their agent's success. Chapman walked a constant tightrope. Every transmission to his German handlers was carefully scripted by British intelligence, and, honestly, every reported success was a calculated lie. A single inconsistency could expose him as a traitor, resulting in torture and execution. He fed the Germans carefully controlled information, while at the same time providing British intelligence with invaluable details about German operations, cryptography methods, and Abwehr locations across occupied Europe. Not all deception required living agents. In one of history's most macabre operations, British planners created a spy who would never speak, never waver, and never betray, because he was already dead. Operation Mincemeat emerged from the desperate need to protect the Allied invasion of Sicily in 1943. British intelligence obtained the body of a homeless man who had died of pneumonia, then transformed him into Major William Martin of the Royal Marines, and, constructed an entire fictitious life around this corpse. They equipped him with a briefcase containing fake correspondence, discussing planned invasions of Sardinia and Greece, deliberately avoiding Sicily. Personal effects were meticulously chosen: love letters from a fictional fiancé ticket stubs a stern letter from his bank, intimate details that would, honestly, convince German intelligence they'd stumbled upon genuine intelligence. The body was released from a submarine off the Spanish coast. Spanish authorities, sympathetic to the Axis, ensured the documents reached German intelligence. The Germans analyzed every detail and, really, concluded the documents were authentic. Hitler himself diverted entire divisions to Sardinia and Greece. When Allied forces stormed Sicily's beaches, they encountered far lighter resistance than anticipated. A single corpse, carefully dressed with fictional secrets, had fooled an entire army and, well, saved thousands of lives. Juan Pujol Garcia, a Spanish chicken farmer with no intelligence training, despised fascism and wanted to help the Allies. When the British initially rejected him, Garcia did something unprecedented. He created his own spy network and began feeding intelligence to the Germans from Lisbon, inventing reports based on library research and travel guides. The Germans were honestly impressed. The British, who were monitoring German communications through their Enigma breakthrough, noticed this mysterious agent and, well, they recruited him, giving him the codename Garbo. Now working under British control, Garcia expanded his fictional network to include, believe it or not, 27 completely imaginary sub-agents across Britain, each with their own detailed backstories and personalities. Garcia's genius, really lay in the details. He reported failures and frustrations that made his network seem authentic. He even complained about agents who drank too much or demanded more money. Sometimes he would kill off agents when it was convenient, even sending funeral expenses to his German handlers. His absolute masterwork came during Operation Fortitude, the deception that protected D-Day. Garcia's fictitious network reported massive Allied troop concentrations in southeastern England under General Patton, supposedly preparing to invade at Pas-de-Calais. Even after the Normandy landings began, Garcia somehow convinced the Germans that Normandy was just a diversion, keeping crucial German divisions paralyzed hundreds of miles from the actual fighting. Garcia received both the Iron Cross from the Germans and an MBE from the British, making him, remarkably, the only person ever decorated by both sides. Behind every deception lay an intricate web of secret languages. The Germans relied on their Enigma machine, producing, millions of encryption combinations every single day. German commanders transmitted orders with complete confidence in its security. Confidence that proved catastrophic when British codebreakers at Bletchley Park penetrated the system, providing intelligence that Churchill later said shortened the war by years. The Allies protected communications with equal sophistication. The American Cigaba machine used 15 rotors that German cryptanalysts just never managed to break. Meanwhile, American forces deployed an ancient weapon language itself. Navajo code talkers transmitted tactical communications in their native language using untranslatable terms. A fighter plane became a hummingbird, a battleship a whale. Japanese cryptanalysts never broke these codes because they were based on cultural knowledge, really, that was inaccessible to outsiders. Double agents survived through mastery of tradecraft. Radio operators sent encrypted messages knowing German direction-finding teams hunted their signals. A transmission lasting more than a few minutes could pinpoint a location, resulting in Gestapo raids. Agents learned to transmit fast and move constantly. They used dead drops, prearranged hiding spots for messages, and invisible inks that appeared only under specific chemical treatments. Microdots reduced entire pages of intelligence to the size of a printed period. Survival depended on operational security, never using the same cipher settings repeatedly, never establishing predictable patterns, and maintaining the psychological discipline to remember cover stories under interrogation. The psychological toll on these agents defied measurement. They lived in perpetual fear, isolated by the secrets they carried. Eddie Chapman struggled with addiction after the war. Juan Pujol Garcia faked his own death and disappeared into obscurity. Every double agent navigated profound moral ambiguity, lying professionally, manipulating those who trusted them, sometimes providing information that led to casualties on the side they ostensibly served, all to maintain cover. Yet their contributions fundamentally reshaped warfare. The double-cross system proved that intelligence superiority could achieve what armies could not: complete domination of an enemy's perception of reality. Modern intelligence gathering still relies on principles pioneered in these shadows: cultivating double agents, using sophisticated encryption, and understanding that perception management can be just as powerful as military force. Mysteries remain buried in classified archives. How many other agents operated successfully whose stories remain unknown? The full accounting may never be revealed, but what we do know demonstrates that survival and victory often belong not to the strongest, but to the most clever and disciplined. The double agents of World War II remind us that survival takes many forms. For them, it meant mastering fear, perfecting lies, and maintaining impossible mental discipline in circumstances where the smallest error meant death. Their legacy extends beyond military history into our understanding of resilience itself, the capacity to adapt, to think strategically under pressure, and to maintain purpose when surrounded by moral complexity and physical danger. These weren't superhuman figures, but ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances, who discovered reserves of courage and cunning they never knew they possessed. If you found this journey into history's shadows compelling, help us reach other history and survival enthusiasts by hitting that like button. Share this video with anyone fascinated by the intersection of human ingenuity and historical crisis. And subscribe to The Lost Tactician for more deep dives into how our ancestors survived, endured, and sometimes changed the course of history through sheer determination and tactical brilliance. The past has countless lessons for those willing to learn them, and here we never stop exploring where history and survival meet. Until next time, stay tactical, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the greatest survival skill is knowing which battles to fight in the shadows rather than in the light.